guys, I hope everyone's doing well. I just wanted to give you guys some more information on new moon rituals. I'm going to try and keep this a little bit shorter because I don't want it to get too long and too involved, and I'm just going to focus on new moon rituals for now. At the full moon, I'll do another video on how to do a full moon ritual. It's slightly different. So this is just a quick one just to give you guys some ideas on how it works, what to do, and how to kind of use this to your advantage. Okay, so a new moon ritual is, for me, I always think about the fact that, at this time, the moon is dark, we're not able to see it. And if you're going to think about that in terms of yin and yang, so yin represents the dark side of the yin and yang emblem, and it is I want to say it's the creation phase. They liken it to a womb, a mother's womb, where it's dark. You can't really see what's going on from the outside, but on the inside, things are forming, new ideas are being created. Well, human babies are being created, but you know what I mean? Or any babies, really. But it's just a period of growth. It's like a seed being planted under the ground. It's dark. It's unknown how things are going to transpire, when it's going to happen, but you have faith that this is growing even though you can't see it. So the new moon is kind of like that, and it's just a time for us to plant the seeds for what we want within our lives. And just to put it in perspective, you guys know that I don't just do the woo-woo. I do a little bit of both, a little bit woo-woo and a little bit of, just, as I want to call it, like reality-based logical thinking. And for me, having a ritual like this is basically just saying to yourself, it's a way of programming yourself with saying that you are setting a new intention, and it is tying it in with something that you can actually follow, that is bigger than yourself. And I think that helps to give us a little bit more grounding when it comes to our goals and the things we want to manifest in our lives. So I personally enjoy using this as a tool to just give myself something to focus on as the month progresses. And it's a cycle that's repeatable every month. It just keeps on going and going and going. So no matter how many times you drop off, you can just jump back on whenever you're ready. And whenever you think about it, you can just be like, oh, okay, cool, I'm in this phase and that phase. I can just move on with where I last left off. So mentioning the phases, there are various phases throughout the moon cycle. It's not just a full moon and a new moon. As we know, the moon goes through waxing phases, waning phases, and everything in between. So each of those phases are broken up into certain milestones on your journey towards you manifesting or releasing your goal, depending on where we are on that cycle. I'll just send you guys through a little picture so that you can actually have a look at that. I'm not going to go through all of that now because it's going to take a bit long. It's a loose guide. I tend to not get too mucked up in the details, but if you're a person who likes to kind of track things a little bit more, then that would be a great way for you to actually keep yourself accountable. So I will share that with you guys. And then how can you use the new moon to your benefit? I've kind of touched on this already by saying that it's something trackable. It's something that you can kind of see outside of yourself. It's something that you can watch grow physically. And I think that that's a really great representation for our goals and the things we want to manifest in our lives. But besides that, to touch on the woo-woo a little bit as well, like I do think that there's a lot of power. We obviously know that the moon affects us as a planet. It affects our tides, it affects us as human beings. I mean, I'm sure you guys feel it when it's new moon or full moon, even if you haven't maybe made the correlation just yet. I know I can't sleep. I have weird ass dreams, like more weird than normal, which if you guys have heard my dreams before, that's saying a lot. And just, we tend to get a little bit more emotional at certain times of the month. For women, we tend to actually sync with the moon. I know a lot of women that are actually synced with the moon and don't even realize it. So it's really interesting for me from that perspective to just understand that there are things that we don't always necessarily understand that have an effect on us, and I don't see the harm in harnessing that. So Yeah, it's just an overall great tool for setting yourself up for success. I personally use it for everything. I have worked with the moon to manifest the job that I currently have, you know, for my current living situation. It was things that I worked towards. I was like, cool, this is kind of what I want, and this is how I see it happening. And through some of the practices that I'll go through now, I feel like I drew that into myself. And it's the same thing as if you, for example, you know, people talking about if you're planning on buying a car, for example, and you're like, I want a red car. All of a sudden you're going to start seeing red cars everywhere you go, because that's top of mind. And that is just basic psychology. And I think that this is how this works too. So when you set that intention for yourself and you are thinking about it all the time, and you're having something like the moon that's kind of like a tool that I want to say is like measuring, it's like a yardstick that you can use. I got cut off somewhere there. I can't remember exactly what I was saying, but I remember I was talking about using it as a yardstick, and just, you know, saying that if you're thinking of buying a red car and then all of a sudden you start seeing a red car everywhere, it's top of mind. It's whatever we're thinking about the most is what we're actually drawing into our experience, not because all of a sudden it's coming out of nowhere. It's always been there, but we are now paying more attention to it, which means that it is manifesting more frequently into our reality, because our reality is formed on our perception. So in my mind, that's kind of how this whole process works. And so I just want to quickly go over some ritual ideas for you to use, so you can make your own ritual, whatever feels good for you, whatever you feel is something that feels right, feels comfortable, feels easy enough for you to do, because it's not going to be easy for everyone. Not everyone can, you know, is in a space where, for example, I'll talk about a bath, but you can't, not everyone has baths anymore in their houses, or there's water restrictions and whatnot. So there's all these different things we have to take into consideration, and you've just got to do what feels right for you. So what I personally like to do, I didn't have a bath for ages. I do have a bath in the new place, but also if you're trying to conserve water, you might not always do this. But I do like to have an intentional bath or an intentional shower. And basically what this is doing is just like treating it as a cleansing ritual, whereby you can sort of submerge yourself underwater. You can, even if you live close enough to the ocean or a body of water, if you have a swimming pool or something like that. Okay, maybe you don't want to do that in winter, but you know, in summer you could definitely do that, as long as your intention's there that you want to kind of cleanse yourself through that experience. And it's basically just grounding, cleansing, and, you know, just refreshing your energy body. And through that, you can, you know, set yourself for new intentions, for welcoming new. So for the new moon, you'll welcome in new by cleansing your space and then making it ready for new fertile manifestation. You can also set yourself a sacred space if you're going to be performing any other kind of rituals. So that can even be like a little piece of your coffee table. It can be a place on the floor. It can be anything, as long as you kind of in your own space. There's no one that's going to bother you. If you can tell whoever is around, hey, like for the next half an hour, I just need some like personal space. Like please don't like come barging into my room, or whatever the case may be. Just ask for a little bit of space. And then what you can do from there is I like to write my intentions. I think if you're going to do anything for a new moon ritual, I think this is the best thing that you can do. And that is basically just like, you can script, which is basically just like, it's a combination of writing out what you're grateful for, and then also just setting your intention. So you can say, but you set your intentions through being grateful for the things that you don't already have. So for example, you can say, I'm so grateful that I have an abundance flowing into my life. You know, I am so grateful that I have a loving partner. I'm so grateful that I have this amazing job, which brings me so much fulfillment and happiness. And you kind of script through that, and you write about how you feel, as if you would already have that thing manifested in your life. So that just creates that feeling within you that you need in order to manifest, because it puts you in vibrational match with what you actually want to manifest. And so that's why it's important to place it in the now instead of trying to place it in the future. So we won't talk about I can't wait to have my perfect summer body. It will be like, I feel so good in my body right now. I love my body the way that it is right now. That's how you would kind of do that. You can also light a candle if that works for you, if that's something that you feel good about. Like a white candle is always really good, because white's also just about intention, purity, new beginnings, freshness, all that jazz. And it is just, it's something, again, that when you light the candle, it can be any color really, it doesn't really matter. Every color has a kind of meaning, but so for example, if you wanted to do self-love, you might like set an intention for a pink candle, because that kind of corresponds to self-love. So if you want to do that, you're more than welcome to, and you can do that at the start of your ceremony, or you can do it at the end, whenever. You can let it burn out if you want to, just as long as you're going to be safe about it. And yeah, I normally just do it for the duration of my ceremony, and then I kind of just like let it burn a little bit longer, but I always make sure that I put it out before I go to bed, because I don't trust that shit. And it's also a really great time to start something new. So if you have a new project or something that you want to start, new moon is a perfect time for that. It's also a really great time to expect the unexpected. You're welcoming in new opportunities, meeting new people. It's not a good time to stop doing anything that you love. This is a time for creation. So if you have like, for example, if you have it's always good to get rid of things that you don't necessarily want, so like bad habits and things like that, that's fine. But it's not, for example, if there's a project that you just like, you're working on, but you don't know how you feel about it just yet, and you feel like you want to give up, maybe hold off a little bit on that, rather focus on creating better habits then in its place. And that's basically it. So that's how you would deal with a new moon ritual. That's a little bit of the breakdown. If there's anything else you guys want to know, let me know, and I'll be happy to go through some stuff with you. I'm sorry this took as long as it did, but there was a lot to say. Cool. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll chat to you guys soon. Bye.